The news started to break Saturday afternoon, early evening, that there were going to be some changes at Paramount. That's right. Paramount Global is in the process of being acquired, well, I guess Global Amusements, through something called a merger of equals, or at least that was the proposal. And of course, you already know, because we've talked about it here, Skydance is the interested party. And they have a lot of reasons to be interested in Paramount and vice versa. And Shari Redstone pretty much controls the whole process. And I think she wants her father's legacy to go to another studio rather than to a tech company, equity, or hedge fund. So I think we're going to see a Paramount Global Skydance deal. Now, because of all of that, well, as I said, the news started to break that the guy that is running Paramount is out the door. That's right. Bob Backish is going to step down. Now, this story is reported in a lot of different ways. My thoughts are this dude is fired. Fired. He's just doing it the corporate way. They don't say fired often in the studio business. He's stepping down. He's going in another direction. Something like that. That's usually what you see. So, well, I would say he's gone. Now, this is being reported widely. Bob Backish wasn't exactly loved. There were a lot of very negative things that happened under his watch and a few positive ones as well. I mean, Top Gun, Maverick, and other things. But he largely wasn't responsible for that. In fact, that actually came about because of Skydance Media. So let's dive a little bit into some other headlines that are associated with the story. Like from Variety, Bob Backish is out as Paramount Global CEO. A little less kind. I'm not sure why Cynthia wasn't kinder, but hey, maybe she didn't write this headline. Maybe it was her editor. Oh, and let's not forget Hollywood Reporter, who says Paramount expected to part ways with CEO Bob Backish amid deal talks. That's the kindest way to say it. And Alex Weprin over there at Hollywood Reporter, well, if he wrote the headline, great. If his editor wrote the headline, great. But it all amounts to the same thing. The guy that's been running the studio and essentially everything associated with it is out the door. So let's pick, well, one of the harshest parts of the PMC Media Group, because let's not forget, all Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and Deadline are owned by one company, Penske Media Group. Anyway, so Bob Backish is out as Paramount Global CEO. It says, amid the M&A drama enveloping Paramount Global, Bob Backish is about to step down as CEO after 8 years. And he's expected to resign under pressure as early as Monday. Well, that's when you're probably seeing this particular story. So this has probably already been decided, I would imagine. The executive has been with Paramount and its Viacom predecessor since 1997. He was recruited by Redstone in 2016 to help her bring order to a company that had descended into a public legal brawling among shareholders and a battle for control between Redstone and former Viacom CEO Philippe Dauman. A word of Backish's pending exit first surfaced, there's the word, come on, culture, on Friday on the Wall Street Journal. Now, the Journal doesn't usually publish a whole lot of rumors. They publish things that they've sourced and probably sourced a few times over. So this doesn't look particularly good. So at present, Paramount's board of directors is in exclusive acquisition talks with Skydance Media and Redbird Capital. Another group, Sony Pictures and Apollo Global Management, is poised to field a former all-cash offer for the company next week as the May 3rd expiration date of exclusive negotiating window with Skydance nears. I have a feeling that exclusive one, interesting deal points rather than what you're going to get out of something like an Apollo Global Sony offer. Anyway, so as Skydance talks have dragged on for months, it's become clear that Skydance CEO David Ellison would take the helm of the enlarged Paramount Skydance operation, while Redbird senior executive Jeff Shell, formerly the CEO of NBC Universal and a longtime Comcast executive, would serve as Ellison's number 2, overseeing day-to-day operations, which is probably a good way to move forward. A rep for Paramount Global declined to comment on Saturday. The company is set to report its first quarter earnings on Monday. What a great time to get rid of your CEO. Oh, yeah. Did I not mention that their earnings are coming up? And it would probably be a good time for him to be gone. If it hasn't happened already as you're watching this video, I don't imagine he's long for the road. I think this is something that, as of the day you're watching this Monday, will have already happened. But yeah, he's gone, and I'm not rooting for this to happen. He did do a few positive things, but their quarterly earnings are going to be bad. They're really kind of just living off of other people at the moment, and they have been for quite some time. You've got a lot of other executives that could, kind of circle around inside the corporation, and that's what the Deadline article focuses on. So it's not clear how the company would replace him. Reports suggest the possibility of creating the office of the CEO led by division heads, including Brian Robbins, George Cheeks, Chris McCarthy. Robbins is the president and CEO of Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon and chief content officers, movies and kids and family, Paramount Plus. Cheeks is president and CEO of CBS and chief content officer, News Sports Paramount Plus. McCarthy is president, entertainment and youth brands, domestic media networks. So they all have fancy titles but manage a bunch of different areas. But I anticipate you probably end up with Brian Robbins temporarily. It's an interesting choice, but, could be a revolving door of leadership there, because I don't know how much of the leadership is going to stick around. There's suggestions that, a lot of executives will walk out the door with him. And I don't really know what they hope to accomplish in doing that, other than to clear the decks for whoever's going to take over leadership when they get there. The biggest thing, or tire around Backish's neck, kind of was Paramount Plus and how rough that rollout was. And consider how many times they renamed their streaming service, and they produced less than stellar results with what should have been headline programming like the Star Trek things that they provided. Again, some very bad deals all along the way. And the strangest part of all of this is Paramount's not the only company that's been doing some very bad things and yielding some very poor results. The question will remain, can Paramount Global turn it around with all of their brands and products that they have available, a pretty deep catalog, and some IPs that have just been undercapitalized that they certainly could take in another direction. CBS is still, for the most part, the number one broadcast television network now because it caters to an audience that's 50 plus, let's say, with a lot of shows that are just targeting that demographic. And that demographic is continuing to spend money as the boomers age up and age out. They're not doing either of those. They're still buying things and investing money in media products. They never seem to be growing up, which says a lot. You also have the generation right behind them that tend to consume similar television products and are also the audience for the reality television programs. After that, linear seems to fall off. And since their streaming never caught on, well, I'll just say they have a long way to go. Perhaps under the leadership of Skydance's Mr. Ellison, they'll move forward more aggressively in all aspects of their business. Might even get back into quality theme parks and things like that in the future. Anyway, just a few notes on Bob Backish as he exits the company on to another adventure, whatever that happens to be. Let me know what your thoughts are on the parting of ways of the CEO and Paramount Global, and what you think will actually happen to Paramount. And do you think they'll end up either with Ellison's Skydance or somehow over with Sony, which I don't think would be a step in the right direction for either studio? Anyway, let me know in the comments section down below. And on your way out the door, don't forget to hit the like button. I would truly appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, and this is your first time or your 1,000th time, please consider this the opportunity to hit that little red button that says subscribe, turn it to gray, and get me closer to 25K. On that note, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.